CTV Calgary, local breaking news.
Good afternoon. A bus driver has gone to hospital after a Calgary transit bus burst into flames this morning. The bus caught fire on Nose Hill Drive, northwest, just east of Stony Trail. Calgary Transit says the bus had just finished its route for the morning and was heading back to the bus barn. There were no passengers on board. The driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries, and Calgary Transit is thanking a local citizen who helped keep the driver warm in their car until he could go to hospital. And a cube van caught fire this morning in the northeast community of Martindale. Firefighters were worried the flames would spread to a nearby LRT line and structures, but they were able to quickly extinguish it. No injuries were reported. The cause is still under investigation. Alberta's teachers are accusing the province of bad faith bargaining over the recent strike.
We are filing a Labor Board relations complaint for unfair bargaining practices directed at the Teachers Employer Bargaining Association. We're also filing 61 grievances, one in every bargaining unit across this province. These actions are necessary because the government has attempted to rewrite its own commitments.
Jason Schilling says during the strike, the government made misleading claims about what was eventually promised to address classroom sizes and complexities. He also claims the government made statements attempting to drive a wedge between teachers and the association. Two advocacy groups say they're changing tactics to keep a challenge alive against an Alberta law affecting transgender people. EGAL and Skipping Stone have been targeting the provincial law banning doctors from prescribing puberty blockers and hormone therapy to those under 16. The groups say it's unlikely the law can be struck down on charter grounds now that the notwithstanding clause has been invoked. Instead, they want to change their argument to a criminal law issue because doctors who do not comply could face fines or even imprisonment. A judge will need to decide if the change can be made at this point. The flu is surging in Alberta, with the number of cases increasing 70% within a week. There's also been a rise in hospitalizations. This week, there were 802 people in hospital because of the flu. That's up nearly 300 compared to last week. So far this season, 21 people have died from influenza. 3 of those were in their 40s and 1 was in their 30s. An Edmonton emergency room doctor has this advice to help slow the spread of the virus.
If you're feeling terrible, don't go out. Maybe join by Zoom or something. If you are feeling terrible, good hygiene. Throw your napkins away that you're using. Good hand washing. If you're going to sneeze, obviously sneeze into your sleeve or into a tissue. Don't spread these things around.
The most dominant flu strain this season is H3N2, which has more serious symptoms. Doctors continue to encourage Albertans to get vaccinated. Friends of Medicare is cautiously optimistic about the province's plan to build 1,500 continuing care spaces. The province says it will spend $400 million to build what it calls shovel-ready projects. Friends of Medicare says it's pleased to see money go toward freeing up bed spaces in hospitals. It also says it doesn't want public dollars going to private healthcare systems. The nonprofit says it's also unclear who will be staffing the new spaces.
If we're going to expand the number of continuing care beds we have by thousands, we need a workforce plan to get there. Otherwise, who's working in these facilities? We are short-staffed throughout the system. But that has been a pattern from the government that whenever they announce new capital projects, whether it's a hospital or a continuing care or a surgical center, they never talk about the workforce.
A spokesperson for primary and preventive health services says supply is tight, but the health workforce is constantly growing. It says 29,000 continuing care beds are currently staffed and operating across the province, 6,000 more than a decade ago. A new report warns Alberta has not properly confronted the massive environmental and financial liabilities left behind by energy development. The research shows the province faces as much as $300 billion in oil and gas cleanup liabilities due to orphaned and abandoned wells. Tim Brooke has more on who pays and who doesn't.
Just 9 years after this Two Hills resident welcomed energy development on his land, the site was sold to a new company and the lease payments stopped.
Why did the regulator allow thousands of inactive well sites to be transferred to a company like Sequoia, and it'd be out of business in 18 months.
Orphaned and abandoned wells have long been a major issue in the province. A new report looks at just how bad things have become. Analysis by research firm Redwater Insights looks into the impact of this unreclaimed infrastructure. It concludes the province has not done enough to keep companies on the hook for their own mess.
So the idea of saving for a rainy day, which we know is going to come, which is the plugging and abandonment of the wells, doesn't happen. So you've got to play catch up once you have a large number of mature wells.
The report says Canada's largest publicly traded energy companies are giving about $14 to their shareholders for every $1 they spend on well plugging and reclamation.
There's still capacity within industry to deal with this problem, and now is the best time to do it.
But the report predicts that won't happen. The authors instead believe Alberta's proposed cleanup strategy will soon make it even easier for companies to offload their aging wells and walk away, just like in Two Hills.
You restrict transfers of late and live wells, or at least police that to make sure that those aren't being transferred to companies that are just going to dine and dash, so to speak.
Without changes and with new development ambitions, landowners worry more issues are on the way.
Premier has talked about doubling our production. Well, does that mean double the mess suddenly?
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The energy minister says the problem is decades in the making, but says the government is committed to addressing it. The ministry adds it continues to support a polluter pay principle and has increased the minimum spend for industry on reclamation. It's the final day to claim a slice of the Loblaw bread price-fixing settlement. Anyone who purchased packaged bread in 2021 can make a claim with no proof of purchase required. The lawsuit alleged Loblaw engaged in an industry-wide scheme to fix bread prices. The $500 million settlement was approved in May. Alberta's government is giving young people the opportunity to use the Canada Strong Pass at provincial museums and heritage sites over the next month. Children will get free admission, and young adults from 18 to 24 will get half-price admission to 8 sites, including the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Drumheller. The special pricing is in effect starting today until January 15th. The Canada Strong Pass already grants free admission to national parks and historic sites over the same time period. The province says a family of 4 with children under 17 can save $20 on each visit to a museum or historic site. Artists from many parts of the world are creating a new immersive exhibit at Power Play in South Centre Mall. They're creating murals using a kind of projection where a person looks like they're part of the painting. The new space is called Snapshot and will include 13 immersive murals. It's part of Power Play at the mall. Compared to the loud gaming space, the new exhibit is designed to be much quieter and still fun for the whole family.
We tell people to come in with an open mind, their imagination, and nothing is too crazy. If whatever they want to do, if you want to do a handstand on the piece, if you want to jump in the air, whatever you want to do, you get a great photo and you get to share memories with your family and friends.
Snapshot features artists from Spain, Mexico, Ukraine, and the U.S. It's expected to be complete in January of 2026. Organizers say it's similar to permanent exhibits in New Jersey and Puerto Vallarta called Tilt. We've posted more information about Snapshot on our website. Thanks for joining us. We'll have more on the top stories coming up on CTV News at 5 and 6 or anytime online at ctvnewscalgary.ca.